What's up guys, CP Bricks here coming at you with building Yavin IV week 3. Now this has easily been the most productive week so far and I am really excited to show you guys what I've accomplished. So without further ado, let's get into the progress. Now over here you can see one of the main things that I did, or pretty much the main thing that I did was cover this entire green area with vegetation. I used a lot of these like flower stem pieces. Covered up almost all the plate layering that I did with these green plates. I think it looks really cool. I also used some of these bush pieces around, and I actually made 4 really cool looking trees using a bunch of different brown slopes in these leaves. So it creates a lot of color. One thing that I really like is that the transition into the actual landing platform is actually really smooth, even with like such the abrupt color change. I think it looks really nice. These leaf pieces really help to blend, so it actually looks pretty good even with the dark tan. So I like how that turned out. So far this outside area is looking pretty much finished. I might add some stuff on the other side as well, but it's looking pretty good. Now over here, the actual landing pad, I didn't do much to, but one thing that I actually did was that I increased the size, or I actually moved it forward 4 studs. So I added 4 studs to the landing pad. That way I have more room to actually put stuff on top of this, and I can actually shrink the amount of space for the vegetation or the foresty area. So in that sense it actually works out. So it looks pretty good and I have more room. Now my main focus for this week was actually to finish the entire entrance for my actual rebel base, the most iconic part, and I want to focus a lot on that. So here it is guys, I'm pretty much have it 100% finished and all detailed up, and I'm just so happy with how this has turned out so far. As you can see, these pillars, the step pillars, I had these last week. None of it has really changed. I think I added a few leaves or something here and there, and I also kind of adjusted it to fit into these sections. So those have pretty much stayed the same, but man, everything in between has completely been built up just in this week. So you can see that it's a very rocky texture. That's what I was going for. More of a, I think that rocky texture was more from the, more shown in the Yavin IV base from episode 4, A New Hope. So I kind of incorporated that here. It has a lot of dark bluish gray slopes and dark tan slopes, as well as dark tan bricks and textured bricks to kind of put flat surfaces in there and to add some color. I use these leaf pieces everywhere, and it kind of adds some much needed texture to the wall. This kind of same design was carried over on these little side panels, and these actually sit at the same angle that these pillars do. That way it kind of frays out a little bit, so it's not just a straight line. They're also flush in there with the 3x6 wedges that I use here around the edges for both of the large staircase things, and they look pretty nice. Now this stack of 2x2 dark tan bricks is just temporary. I think I'm gonna make it dark bluish gray, but they're there just to kind of hold up all this section. This whole this kind of whole thing also carries onto that side. This carries onto that side. I'm not going to show it just for the ease of the video. I will move it over just a little bit so you guys can see a little bit better for right here. You can see that there's like the entrance itself has this cool design right there underneath the rock wall, and this was kind of shown in the actual movies, so I kind of just incorporate that. It's pretty tall. I'm going to compare it to an astromech droid. Here's R2-D2. You can see it's pretty tall, so it's not, obviously not to scale with figures or anything, but this is probably the best I could have done with, you know, how many parts I have and the time constraint I have. So yeah, this strip of color right here is all going to be covered up with tiles. I think the entire back of the base is going to be covered with tiles as well. So I'm really liking how this arch is looking as well. One of the cooler parts that I think I've done so far also for this entire front entrance was the actual roof section, or not the roof, but the top of the base. You can see I used a bunch of layering of wedge plates so in dark tan and dark bluish gray. That way it creates kind of like this very rigid texture. I like how that looks. I also use these same leaf pieces I've been using everywhere in this whole mock to kind of add some more, you know, vegetation. Also these, you know, these slopes in dark bluish gray to help add some more texture as well. So all creates this very nice look. Now on these sides you can kind of see how the angles are actually built into the wall. So that are the entrance. It's kind of complicated. It took me a long time to figure out how to do this correctly. It's pretty much the same thing on the other side, but you know, different details and stuff. But you can kind of see how that's just kind of incorporated into the wall. It's using a lot of those 1x4 hinges to kind of just keep it into place, and it's really snug and it's not going anywhere. So that pretty much does it for the front entrance. Now on the back, I really didn't do much at all in terms of, you know, details and aesthetics, but this gives you an idea of how I kind of built up all the section and kind of the structure. So as you can see, I used a lot of this filler brick, some panels to, you know, give it a very nice sturdy structure. And over here you can see how these side panels were built up, or these kind of extra panels, they were built up, and they have a lot of these hinges to hold them in place. Did on that side as well. Here is pretty much the outline of where, you know, the arch itself is, and all this is going to be covered up with different, you know, the interior walls. So I'm gonna try to get to that this upcoming week. This is going to be my main focus, kind of finishing up the actual you know, interior of the mock. Hopefully it will, you know, it'll come along pretty easily. And also what I want to do is I actually want to build some vehicles for this. Now the problem with that is that the actual you know, the scaled or the vehicles sold by, you know, Lego, like the X-Wing and the U-Wing, which are the ones I want to incorporate, are way too large for this scale. So what I'm actually going to do is build these kind of larger mid-scale versions of those two vehicles. That's kind of what I want to. And actually there's like a mid-scale version of the X-Wing that I saw in one of the old Lego Star Wars encyclopedias. I'm going to put that picture right here. It was actually for a Yavin IV Rebel base that Lego designed. It was actually in development, but it never came to actual sets, and they never sold it. But I kind of like how that looks. It's not scaled properly, but it will actually add a lot to the interior and the exterior as well. So I think I'm going to put the U-Wing on the outside landing pad and the X-Wing somewhere in here. Hopefully that looks pretty good. But with that out of the way, guys, I think that's pretty much it for this week's episode of Building Yavin IV. So if you would, go ahead and drop a like on this video and subscribe if you want to see some more awesome Lego Star Wars content like this. So thanks for watching, guys.